Okay. Hey everybody, Sunday sessions here with Courtenay Pollock. We're going to lead into the Persian affair. We've been waiting a long time to talk about this actually. This is probably our favorite part.
Well, it's certainly one that I remember the sharpest.
And so I hope you enjoy as much as I have. Enjoy.
Thank you. Okay, so I've landed in Tehran and I've been transported, by a royal limousine to Ali's house, or his parents' house, on the mesa where the palace is. It's not in sight, but it's down the road. And they have decided, Farhad, who saved me off the plane in Tehran, and Ali had both, simultaneously thought of me with regard to this lady that they go to university with in London, that is in Tehran, and she was due back, and her name is Victoria. Well, they have arranged a party for me to meet Victoria. And the party is going to be held in Ali's parents' place, in the main residence area, and that's why I put on a dress shirt with my cuffs and everything. Hey, check them out, nice, eh? Anyway, yin and yang, and so and the party is it's set up and it's happening. And there's all these amazing people. They're all so cultured, really educated and successful, and jet set, And then this vision of loveliness appears, across the room, and there's Victoria, and she and I just engaged, immediately our energies, and. So that was a wonderful meeting, which it was a little recap there, but we have to really get together yet, right? So after the party, Ali, he says, well, we have friends that have a private ski resort, that in the mountains we could arrange a rendezvous with you and Victoria, and we'll all go there, we ski, you meet Victoria, and sounds great, Only one thing, I don't know how to ski. I haven't skied yet, but how hard could it be? I see kids doing it, and old people, right? I mean, I'm a marathon runner. Anyway, the day comes. And Ali, he drives this, he's got a really sharp, Mercedes, like tight. And he's driving out, from Tehran and out into the mountains. And there's mountains, there's roads and crossroads, and there's no names, no nothing. How do you know where you are, right? And you're out in the wilds of Persia, Iran, that is, right? Nowadays. And we drive and drive, and we finally arrive at this ski resort that's owned by friends of his and Victoria's. And so we're welcomed. We have wonderful suites appointed to us, and it's a fabulous hotel. And the next day we go skiing. And we get this chairlift. I rent some equipment or give them some equipment, and we go, up, and then we get another lift, and we go up. And pretty soon we're right on the top, and we're way up there, and they go, oh, the weather's closing in, and they all took off. I'm up there. How does this work, right? And I kind of totter to the edge of this slope, and then I go. Straight down my legs are going like pistons, and then I go, and then it levels out, and I throw myself down, and slow down, and I stop. I get up again, and I go like, okay, that was for sale. And I was like, okay, there's the next one. Get up to the and anyway, so you know, I managed to navigate myself all the way down to the halfway house, and by now I'm in rags. I mean, everything's ripped to shreds and stuff, you know. And they said, "Oh, you have a little difficulty," and I said, "Well, yes, you know, it's just, you know, the stopping part was hard." It was so silly, right? Anyway, the next day I'm out there, I'm like, you know, bare-chested, kamikaze. The sun's shining, it's cold, but it's because it's still early spring. And, you know, kamikazing down the side of the mountain, you know, and oh my God. Anyway, that day, Victoria arrives, and she arrives, you know, quietly, and, you know, she's friends with the people that own the ski resort, and they're all old friends, and she and I, you know, have some quiet time together, and then we have separate rooms, of course, you know, protocol and all that, but you know, so I think I sneak into her room. Anyway, we have, you know, we meet, we get along, and then of course we have a wonderful night together, and now we're in love, you know. It's one of those destined wonderful affairs that's you know, that changed my life, really. You know, it really introduced love into my life, you know, in the course of our relationship that I had no idea about, you know. And that was a wonderful opening, you know, for my soul, for my everything. And you know, and of course she and I are still friends, although we're not in touch currently. You know, life goes on, people disappear. But anyway, so we had this a few days together there, and it was fantastic. And then the management come to me one day and they say, "Oh, Courtenay, my apologies, but would you please stay off the slopes, you know, for tomorrow, because the Shah is coming to ski, and you know, we're asking people to, you know, have a respectful distance, but you know, you're going long hair with bare chest and, you know, going crazy down the mountain without stopping is like." I said, "Well, I'm doing the best I can." Anyway, it was pretty funny. So the next day, we just get the chairlift up to the halfway house and we can look down on the scape. And sure enough, there's the Shah. He's a tiny little man, you know, and he's got this platoon of, like, you know, 20 odd soldiers all around him with, you know, full automatic, you know, skiing around him in a big circle. Just him all on his own, nobody else around. All these soldiers all around him with, you know, he's like, oh my God, what a way to live. Anyway, you know, during the course of that that evening, so we have, you know, we have a pleasant day, taking time off. Oh, meantime, when we were due to go to the ski lodge, and we'd been smoking opium, you know, every day, all day, you know, all week, and Ali says, when we go to ski, maybe we don't take opium. I said, okay, sure, you know. He said, "Oh, are you okay with that?" And I said, "Yeah." What do I care, right? Of course, I don't have any idea, you know, how addictive this stuff is and what effect it has or anything. I'm just like, you know, it's nice, you know, but you know, he really knows. Anyway, so the first day there, you know, I you know, beat myself up on the slopes, you know, going up and down, just like battering myself by throwing myself down to stop and then going to the next ridge and going down again. And I remember one time I was going down so fast, I passed the halfway house, I go to the next, and I'm just like, and you know, the hotel is coming up, and I finally throw myself flat on my back, and then I hit the hotel wall with my legs, and I just stop. And people are walking up with their skis on, and sort of, zoom. I'm like, oh, I think I'm doing this wrong. I mean, a barbarian, in this civilized country. At least, anyway. So the Shah skis, and that evening, it's a big night in there. It's a Persian New Year, so during the course of the evening and after dinner, we're all in this big hall, and we're all kind of gathered together, our friends, and the Shah comes over, and he comes and he knows everybody except me, and he comes to me and he goes, visitor, and it's such a pleasure. And of course they all speak impeccable English, because they're brought up in England, not well educated, in the best schools, and he says, I honor your presence in our country. I understand that you're an artist, and all this stuff. And he said, a little humble offering, to commemorate the Persian New Year, and he had a golden sovereign minted for the Persian New Year, and gives it to me. And I was like, oh, thank you. So gracious of you, and such a pleasure to meet you. And he says, well, have a wonderful time. And that was my only, meeting with the Shah, who was later on murdered, terribly poisoned, whatever, taken out of power. But at the time, he was such an exquisite gentleman, and he'd done so much for the country. Tehran was, it's a desert, it's rocky, it's like, and he had gardened, he terraced and gardened and grown, and he had a 12-mile perimeter around Tehran that had changed the weather patterns, into, a beautiful climate by just growing terraces of grass, and, and then he was developing farmlands, and he was developing the middle class and the education system for the whole country. He was doing a great job. Of course, he had the secret police that were, still really, like the SS. But, hey, everybody has their little secrets. So anyway, there was a certain tragedy about that. I thought he was doing a wonderful job. He was a charming little guy. I'm sorry, I shouldn't repeat, about his demeanor. Anyway, so anyway, that was the experience at the ski lodge, and then of course we eventually went home, home to Ali's place, and I expressed an interest to go into the countryside, rather than be, on the edge of the city. It's not like I'm down in the city on the streets or anything. I'm living in a palace or a mansion, but we go down there, and Ali would want to score hash. Well, hash, they shoot people for having hash. It's like, you got bang, hash. Opium was okay. Opium dens, no. But opium was okay because it's part of the culture, but only the people that qualified for it, or whatever, But everybody was, even the servants of the house, they had the black tar, they all smoked, occasionally, at least weekends. And, but hash, who cares? But Ali wanted to score hash, and we go down to the market, and we'd, it'd be all secretive, and, score some hash and things. Anyway, so at one time he decided, he wanted to actually experience an opium den. Well, by this time, of course, Victoria has a younger sister, Patricia. She's a couple of years younger, and another beautiful woman. And Ali takes up with Patricia. So now there's the four of us, and we had such magic together. It's just like phenomenal. And plus, we were all taking LSD now and then together, and they were clear light, and really it was super. It doesn't get any better than that. Well, some of Owsley's was way up there, maybe the best. But anyway, so we decide, tracking down an opium den is like really difficult because it moves all the time, because they're always, if they get found out, they get killed, they get shot, and these are the real opium dens where they lay on their sides and they got the oil lamp and they got the thing, and they feed people, with the, it's heavy duty stuff. Anyway, this particular night we chase around, we go here and we go here, there and there and there. I said, we're hardly cognito in this big beautiful Mercedes, He said, well, nobody's going to bother us, unless the place gets raided. So anyway, we finally find it, and we get there, and we actually have the real treatment, with the opium server, this old man all crinkled up and, feeding us the opium, and we do, several rounds of it, and we're high. I'm feeling it. Everybody's happy, but Patricia she's about passed out. And Patricia's, she's not a small girl, but she's probably 120 pounds, 125 pounds. She's beautiful and lithe, and but she's not tiny by any means. And anyway, Victoria's on her own legs, she's fine, and we have to go to our car, which is quite a long way away. So I have to carry Patricia. I carry her, carry her. we get all the way to the car. I remember that, that the burden, starting off it was quite light, and then it got heavier and heavier, pretty dead weight. We finally get to the car, we get out of there. So that was the opium den thing. And and oh my God. But we had such adventures throughout Europe, which those stories come along. But so I had expressed an interest to go to the countryside and the mountains, rather than being in the city or even on the edge of the city. I just I was craving that solitude, so they decide. Ali, talks to Furu, his mother, and his her husband, Dr. Umeumfa. He's some kind of doctor, I don't know what he did, but she was the the big high blood in there. Anyway, so they decide to open up their country residence, which is in the mountains. And so Patricia and Victoria and Ali and myself, we embark on another journey, and Ali's driving, and we end up in this valley. Snow on the ground, and a lovely house with all these terraces coming down from the house, with the formal gardens and the waterways and all those fountains, but they're not working because it's all frozen right now. And so we go into the house, and the servants, they kind of live, I don't know where they really live. They lived in holes in the ground. They really came up from from nowhere. There wasn't any place in the house they lived, but they used to, when there was nobody there, they used the kitchen, and they would use parts of the house, but they didn't live in the house. They actually lived in, somewhere underground. And we showed up unannounced, and it's, taking them by surprise. And anyway, the place is freezing. It's absolutely frigid. And they kind of awaken. It's a family of servants. And the main lady that's running it is she's so gracious, of course, and she they get a fire going, and they have these low tables where you sit with your legs under the tables, and they have this corset. It's like a big eider-down, really heavy and weighted and very insulated, that goes around everybody around the table. And they put a big brazier of hot coals under the table, and it keeps you warm, and comes up under the eider-down. It keeps you warm, and you've got your pustines, which are the sheepskin big fur coats, and and then they start trotting out like Arabian coffee or Persian coffee, and sweetmeats, and stuff to eat. I mean, out of their own supplies, because honestly, they weren't expecting the house to open up for another month, and so they're not prepared, and they weren't supplied, and then they're offering their own opium for us afterwards. I think, wow, this is awesome, and so the evening goes on, and everything's comfortable and cozy by now, and we're under the corset, and everything's cool, and and then they suddenly announce, well, we've got to go now, and they take off and leave me there. Yes. They said, we've got to go. And you wanted to live in the country, here you are. So I'm left there with snow on the ground, this family of servants. I have not a penny in my pocket, and I don't speak a word of Farsi, of course, and but I had so the next day I get up, and of course they're so gracious, and I take a hike up the mountainside. There's this lone tree up this on this bare mountainside, and I go sit under the tree, and it's wonderful. I'm looking down at the valley, and the snow's starting to thaw, and I'm looking at all the the terraced gardens and things that are gently thawing. And I'm thinking of Victoria, and she said, no, I have to go. I have I have Mehdi and my son Cyrus, and I have duties, I have things to do. I say, so anyway, I'm up there, meditating under the oak tree. I'm thinking, okay, I'm seeing Victoria, and she's getting up, she's disposing of all of her commitments and everything like that, and then she's going to be free, and she's going to get in her car, and she's driving out of Tehran, and she's driving over the mountains, and she's driving, and she comes into the mouth of the valley, and she comes around a bend, and I look up, and there she is. It's like, right, as you think, so it be. And just wonderful. And she drives. By the time I come down to the road from the oak tree, she's just pulling alongside. She says, Courtenay, suddenly, like magic, all my duties, they disappear. I can come to you. And we spend a fabulous day together. And every day, same thing. I'd go under the tree, and I would meditate on her coming down, and I had started to explore further up the mountain. One of the times on the mountain, I decided I'm going to take LSD and go up to the top, to the ridge. And it's it's warming up, and there's still snow in the valley, but it's starting to thaw enough that they're starting to groom it. It's opening up. And I take off up the mountain. Take some LSD. Take it off and go up. And I find this canyon. I'd been up so far, a few times before. Then I take a slightly different route, and then I come into this canyon, and I'm going up, and I go into this canyon. There's bones, and the bones are big bones. They're bigger bones, and I go in. And it's a blind end canyon, and it's just big bones everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, this must be some big predator, and So I'm going to climb out at the end of this blind canyon, and I climb up this little cliff face, and I come over the top, and it's all snow up there, and there's these cat prints the size of dinner plates, And I go, okay, I'll follow the cat prints, you know, I'll follow the cat prints. He knows where he's going, or she does. And anyway, so following. And every now and then, you know, you go through what would be kind of like a snow bridge, or, you know, a place where it's really deep snow, and you can see where the cat had spread itself out and, you know, moved across these snow bridges so it didn't fall through and you know, get, you know, trapped. So I flatten myself out, and I flatten out, and I navigate the snow bridge, and I go, you know, higher and higher, and I find another one, you know. This goes on 5 hours, and I finally get to this top ridge, still following the cat prints, and the cat prints go on along the top ridge, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna sit here for a moment. I'm looking down this way, and I look, you know, the other side of the ridge from where I came up, and it's just thousands of feet down there, and there's this like lightning and black boiling clouds and thunder, and, you know, there's a whole storm going on down there. And then the storm is rising. It's rising up really fast. And I go, oh shit. I better get down off here really fast. And I'm really not dressed for this. I have a, you know, a down coat and hiking boots, but, you know, not much else. Anyway, I start to backtrack, you know, and I'm coming down. And but meantime, I had been sitting up there and I'm going, you know, that LSD didn't work. You know, I just feel normal, you know, nothing, you know, there's no. Of course, I'm up there, there's no life, there's no nothing, there's no anything to measure. Everything's pure. But, you know, I came down further, and then it's snow bridges, and I'm, you know, skating across the snow bridges, crawling on my belly and arms and legs, you know, and hours get down, you know, it's like getting dark. And I finally come into view of the valley that I, you know, where the house is, and as you know, when I first got down to the first vegetation, I stopped for a moment, and everything's and I realized I'm just higher than a kite. But there had been nothing to measure it by. There'd been no life. There'd been no, the frequencies are so pure where there's nothing, and I was like, oh my God, and so I have to sit under the oak tree. And, you know, it's getting so dark, I have to go down, you know, for I can't see. And then I get down to the gardens, and I sit out in the gardens. I'm not ready to go in the house. And then Ardath, the head lady serving, you know, the house and everything, she comes out, and she said, chai? And I said, oh, chai. And so she brings me tea, and she's trying to, you know, give me food. And she said, you come in, you know. But she doesn't speak English, but... And I said, oh, you know, please don't trouble yourself, Ardath. And she understood me perfectly, you know, in some fashion or other. And she speaks in Farsi, but I understood perfectly. She went, ah, you are the moon, I serve you. I was like, ah. You know, in my absolutely open and vulnerable state, it was like unbelievable. Oh, wow. You know, so extraordinary. What a humble and gracious spirit. And... so, you know, she eventually brings me in and feeds me, makes me warm, and, you know, and anyway, that was that. That was, you know, partway along that journey.
That was amazing, Courtney.
Thank you. And I think there's more to come.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll save that for another day.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks for watching, guys. And remember, like and subscribe.
Thank you.
Thank you.